President and I want to wish every American a very Merry Christmas.
During the sacred season, Christians celebrate the greatest miracle in human history. More than 2,000 years ago, God sent his only begotten Son to be with us.
The bells, the bows, and the flashing lights, the mistletoes and the silent nights. It's all for sure and it's alright. That's not why I love this time. Oh, yeah, it gets me and it never lets me act like I don't care. It's time of year's my favorite time of year, 'cause all of us are here together.
In this holy season, we thank God for his infinite love, and we pray that the light of his glory will forever shine on this magnificent land. On behalf of Melania and the entire Trump family, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
And we are now just 10 days from Christmas Day as we open up a busy broadcast week here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Welcome to it. If you want to join us, we always keep our phone lines open. It's not just a special thing at Christmas. Forget about Open Line Friday. It's Open Line every day. 414-799-1130 on our AdventNows.com talk and text line. You can email me, DOD@iHeartMedia.com. Follow me across social media at Dan O'Donnell Show. Watch the show streaming live on our YouTube channel and follow the show in podcast form. Just download it automatically by subscribing on your iHeartRadio app or wherever you listen to podcasts. It was a bummer of a weekend, pretty much any way you slice it. Not only did we deal with record low temperatures in Wisconsin, we also dealt with a terror attack across the world on Bondi Beach in Australia. We dealt with a terror attack that killed 2 National Guard soldiers in Syria. They were originally from Iowa. We also were dealing with a mass shooting at Brown University. Now, just within the last couple of minutes, President Trump offered a bit of an update on the manhunt. Remember, there was a man from Wisconsin. I am not going to name him because he has been cleared of all wrongdoing. He was never considered a suspect in this mass shooting that killed 2 people and injured nearly a dozen more. The suspect is still on the loose, the man from Wisconsin. First of all, there were 2 men with the same name who were identified across social media yesterday as people were playing amateur detective and trying to figure out who was responsible for this heinous crime. Well, late last night, there was a news conference in which Providence Police, as well as the FBI, said, we are releasing this guy without any charges. President Trump, during an event in the Oval Office at the White House just a couple of minutes ago.
We're going to see what happens. Hopefully they're going to capture this animal. Hopefully they're going to capture him.
Has Kash Patel told you why it's been so difficult for the FBI to identify who the shooter is?
Well, it's always difficult. So far, we've done a very good job of doing it with Charlie, with, the various times this has happened. They've done it in pretty much record time. But you'd really have to ask the school a little bit more.
The questions surrounding the school are why there is no clear video in 2025. Why does it appear that there was no video surveillance anywhere on the campus of Brown University? Why do we not have any sort of description of this suspect? Again, the man from Wisconsin, I believe Mequon, was cleared of any wrongdoing and any suspicion. We'll have much more on this still developing story, the manhunt for the Brown University gunman, coming up later on this hour. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, it's our annual tradition. We talk with Milwaukee's Archbishop Jeffrey Grobb. This is his very first Christmas as the head of the Milwaukee Diocese, as he took over a couple of weeks after Christmas last year for the now retired longtime Archbishop Jerome Listecki. He will offer his Christmas blessing and reflect on some of the horrors of this weekend. Also in the 5 o'clock hour, I don't want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about it, but we do need to talk about the Green Bay Packers loss in Denver. I'm not talking about the game. I am talking about Micah Parsons being gone for the rest of the year and very possibly part of next season, as it is now confirmed via an MRI that he has a torn ACL, which was just beyond apparent when he went down in a non-contact injury. Yes, he was still up and walking around. I still remember when Jordy Nelson tore his ACL in a preseason game, and people were offering some hope that maybe it wasn't as bad as it looked, because he was walking around on the sideline as someone with a very bad left knee, and in fact someone who has degeneration of the ACL that is technically classified as a tear. I'm telling you, you can walk around on it. It's just very painful, and there's just no way you would be able to perform at an elite NFL level. Is the Packers' season over, as they also lose Christian Watson to an injury as well as the game in Denver, dropping them from the 2nd seed with 3 weeks to go in the NFC playoffs in the season? They go from the 2nd seed all the way to the number 7 and last seed. Oh, man. NFC playoffs. The playoff picture is very, very bunched up. We will dissect it coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. In the 4 o'clock hour, a truly horrific situation, in addition to the terror attack this weekend in Australia that was very clearly targeting the country's Jewish population on the first day of Hanukkah, to the mass shooting, which does appear to potentially have been targeting a Jewish studies professor's class that was taking a final exam at Brown. We also had the horrific double murder of Rob Reiner, the legendary actor and director, as well as his wife. Now officially charged is his 32-year-old son, Nick, who I can't even give details of this crime because this is a family-friendly show. This followed a significant argument that the two apparently had at, of all people, Conan O'Brien's Christmas party. We'll dive into that in the 4 o'clock hour. And, of course, the only thing liberals actually care about this, President Trump's admittedly bad, tone-deaf post on Truth Social, falsely suggesting that Reiner was killed not by his drug-addicted, severely mentally ill son, but rather killed because of his extreme Trump derangement syndrome. It is also a big day in Wisconsin, the first day of the federal trial of Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan. This is a story that we literally broke here on the Dan O'Donnell Show way back in April, that the FBI was investigating Dugan for helping a violent, illegal alien criminal escape from her courtroom through the jury room doors. Dugan herself, when confronted about this by Milwaukee police officers, denied my reporting, said, "A local radio guy is just stirring the pot. None of it is true. I'm not being investigated by the FBI. I'm not facing arrest." Well, 3 days after that video, a body cam video, was shot, sure enough, on Good Friday, she was taken into custody. Or excuse me, a week after Good Friday, she was taken into custody. We were actually the first ones to report on this, and we have been following this story pretty much ever since. Well, we had a bombshell piece of evidence, two actually, presented during the opening statements at trial, which were this morning. Assistant U.S. Attorney Keith Alexander, who is prosecuting this case, played audio of Dugan using the phrase, "I'll take the heat," while speaking to her court reporter, Joan Butts. Dugan and Butts, according to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel's live trial blog, there is no audio or video of federal court proceedings, so the only dispatches we get from this are from reporters who are actually in the courtroom. Dugan and Butts, according to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, are whispering on the audio about sending illegal alien defendant Eduardo Flores Ruiz out of the courtroom through a hallway and down the stairs. Butts asks Dugan if she should show Flores Ruiz and his attorney, Mercedes De La Rosa, where to go. Dugan tells Butts, "I'll do it. I'll take the heat." Now, why is this such a massive piece of evidence? Because it's clearly indicative that she knew what she was doing was wrong. She knew what she was doing was criminal. It is evidence of intent to shield a criminal alien in her court from the natural consequences of his actions. And when you are a once deported illegal alien criminal, one of those consequences could theoretically be deportation by ICE agents. Now, she faces two separate charges, does Dugan: obstruction of official proceedings, obstruction of a federal proceedings, technically the charge. One of the elements of that crime is that the defendant, the person charged with it, needs to know that there was a valid warrant, that interfering with the prosecution, with the administration of whatever proceeding that is in fact wrong, is in fact criminal. This audio, which was taken from an off-the-record portion of the hearing that Flores Ruiz was attending when ICE agents came to come pick him up, this is clear evidence that, in fact, she knew there was a valid proceeding, that ICE agents were there to pick him up. It is evidence of criminal intent. That's why it is so big. There is a second piece of key evidence that was revealed during opening statements today. Again, from the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, jsonline.com. Prosecutors brought up that Dugan used her personal email to send a poster to her court email on April 13th, 5 days before federal agents came to arrest Flores Ruiz. The poster was later seen on Dugan courtroom doors. It read, "If any attorney, witness coordinator, or other court official knows or believes that a person feels unsafe coming to the courthouse to courtroom 615, please notify the Branch 31 clerk to request court appearance via Zoom." What this means is that Dugan was preparing for the possibility that there would be illegal alien defendants, and she was doing a criminal case rotation, meaning the people who were coming to her court were accused criminals. They are going not for some family law dispute, but to answer charges of varying degrees of severity for offenses against the state of Wisconsin. What this indicates, the fact that she was using a personal email to send a court email, to send this poster to her court email, is that what this shows is that she had an intent to, quote, make illegal aliens feel safe in her courtroom. Hey, if you're an attorney, if you are a court official, if you're working for witnesses, to get witnesses here, if they are scared to show up because they think ICE agents might be there and ICE agents might take them into custody, might ultimately deport them, let me know about it and I will take care of it. What this shows is that she, 5 days later, was taking care of it in the way that she felt was morally correct, but was legally absolutely not. Now, how did Dugan's attorneys characterize what happened? Again, from jsonline.com. Her lead attorney, former U.S. Attorney Stephen Biskupik, began the defense's opening statement by calling this the most important week of Dugan's professional life. Yeah, no kidding. Dugan is, quote, on trial because the federal government wanted her to act a certain way with respect to ICE, Biskupik said. That is not at all what she is on trial for. She is on trial because she took the law into her own hands. She is on trial. She faces the most difficult week of her professional career because she chose to violate the law, and the law could not be clearer. She faces 2 charges: interfering with a federal proceeding and helping a criminal evade arrest. The elements of the crime are remarkably straightforward. Did she act to conceal somebody from an arrest? Did she know that there was a warrant out there for Eduardo Flores Ruiz to be picked up by ICE? Yes, she did. She questioned whether it was an administrative warrant or a judicial warrant, and she took it upon herself to say, well, it's only an administrative warrant. You see, under the Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1996, President Bill Clinton, by the way, signed that measure into law that authorized ICE to generate its own warrants. Because if you need to go to a judge every single time you're going to pick up one of the 5, 7, 10 million illegal aliens in this country. We have no idea how many there are. You just wouldn't be able to do so. You wouldn't be able to conduct deportation operations if every single time you had to get a judge to sign off on it. So ICE will simply generate its own warrants saying, yes, we know this person to be in this country illegally. This person committed a crime. This person came back after being deported. We are going to take them out of the country. We are going to pick them up and we're going to prepare them for deportations. Dugan, in trying to get those ICE agents to go to the chief judge's office in order for him to determine whether or not this was a valid warrant, again was taking the law into her own hands. It's not for Hannah Dugan to determine if ICE presenting an administrative warrant is a good enough reason to go in and take a target of a deportation operation out. That's not her job. ICE is authorized under the color of federal law to do so. And this is critical. Leftists do not want to accept the fact that administrative warrants are just as valid as judicial warrants in the concept of immigration enforcement. Biskupik, though, is trying to mischaracterize what it was that Dugan did that day as refusing to act in the way that the Trump administration wanted her to act with respect to ICE. No. This would be akin to if Hannah Dugan signed a warrant for the arrest of a drug dealer. Let's say he's not an illegal alien. Let's say he's just some thug from Milwaukee who's been selling crack. And Dan O'Donnell, on his radio show, told the subject of that warrant, hey, I happen to know, thanks to my sources in the courtroom, hey, I was the one who knew that Judge Dugan was helping an illegal alien escape before anybody else. I've clearly got good sources at the courtroom. I can tell you, random thug from Milwaukee, Judge Dugan just signed an arrest warrant. You'd better get out of here. And then not only did I use my radio show to warn him, I actually hid the thug under my desk and refused to allow any Milwaukee police officers to come arrest him because I was doing a live radio show. That is obstruction of process. That is concealing a person from arrest. I know he is wanted on a bench warrant, and yet I am refusing to allow law enforcement officers acting under the color of the law to bring this guy into custody. That is a crime. I would be arrested, charged, and very likely convicted. Biskupik also said something relatively hilarious, that the doorway that Dugan ushered Flores Ruiz and his attorney out of through the jury room door was close to the public doors of the courtroom, 11 feet and 10 inches away, Biskupik said. Not even as far as your jury box, he said to Judge Lynn Edelman. He added, there was a federal agent to the left and to the right. What is it about Democrats and their defenders presuming everybody is stupid? Yes. A door 11 feet away that leads to a completely different area of the hallway or a completely different area of the courthouse building where somebody could reasonably be expected to be able to get away by going down a different elevator than the one the public normally uses. That is absolutely an effort to get them to escape. Here's another way in which Biskupik today was attempting to mischaracterize what was going on. Again, jsonline.com. Biskupik said there was widespread confusion among Milwaukee County judges as federal officials began making immigration arrests shortly after President Donald Trump returned to office in January. He said the courthouse arrests led to anger, confusion, and even paranoia among judges. Does this mean Milwaukee County is cooperating with ICE, he said? What kind of warrant was ICE using? Again, it doesn't matter what type of warrant he was using. There were also calls for Milwaukee County Chief Judge Carl Ashley to set a policy on courthouse arrests, Biskupik said. He said there was no intent by Dugan to hide the undocumented immigrant involved in the case. It is a judge's job to balance the interests of all parties, not to serve ICE, Biskupik said. There's no concealment, he said. There's no obstruction, except there is. It's a judge's job not to help an illegal alien defendant not only avoid ICE, but what did she think was going to be the reasonable outcome of helping a guy who, let's not forget, was charged with viciously beating his roommate and his roommate's girlfriend after, I will add, he was already deported from this country once and snuck back in? Does he think Now that ICE knows that he's set for further court hearings in front of Judge Hannah Dugan, hearings that are public, does he really think that ICE agents aren't just going to be waiting for him at the next hearing? He's never going to come back. He is never going to be tried. He is never going to face justice for viciously beating the roommate and the roommate's girlfriend during some sort of fight. What Dugan was attempting to do, and fortunately, this guy ran off, but ICE agents were able to tackle him after about a half a block chase, and they were able to bring him into custody, and he has since been deported. What Dugan was doing is about the worst thing that a judge can do. She was attempting to shield him, not through a not guilty verdict or not through a sweetheart plea deal that she accepts, which would have been nauseating enough. What she was trying to do is to ensure that he would never face justice for the crimes with which he was charged. She knew full well, or at least reasonably should have known, that as soon as he gets out of that door, he is never going to come back, because ICE agents now know where he is, where he's going to be, and will be there waiting for him the next time he shows up to a hearing. So, of course, there is going to be no next time he shows up for a hearing. He's just never going to come back. He is going to disappear. He is going to continue to live illegally in this country, and in all likelihood, he is going to continue to victimize more people and commit more violent crimes. Day one of the Hannah Dugan trial, even through just opening arguments, made it abundantly clear that A, she knew what she was doing was wrong, as evidenced by the audio in which she said, well, I'll take the heat for this. And she also had a clear intent via the evidence of that poster that she sent herself and then put up outside of her courtroom. She had a clear intent to shield illegals from any sort of ICE activity. That is a clear intent to violate the law by interfering with arrests and interfering with valid process. You are listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. It is classical conservatism and contemporary style, and we'll be back with more of it coming up in just a second.
Merry Christmas
from the Dan O'Donnell Show.
This is the time of the year most of us are checking off our holiday gift list. Identity thieves have lists too, and your personal information might be on that list. Protect your identity with LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every single second and alerts you to the threats you could miss yourself. If your identity is stolen, your own U.S.-based restoration specialist is going to work to fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Make this season about joy, not identity theft, with LifeLock. Save up to 40% off your first year at LifeLock.com with the promo code BECK. Terms apply.
Do you own a small business? A seismic shift is coming. It's time to get super sure. Coming soon.
Tracy, why are you wearing those ridiculous running shoes?
It's the deadline dash, Jason. The federal HVAC tax credits are expiring December 31st. Everyone will be racing to get their new furnace and air conditioner installed.
You're right. The clock is ticking and the equipment must be installed by the end of 2025.
Exactly. And the savings are real. The tax credit for a new heat pump alone is up to $2,000.
Call today and we'll help you get your installation scheduled in 2025 so you don't miss out on all of the savings.
Call CapitalCares.com.
Snow's on the ground. Lights are all bright. The holidays are filled with delight. But what makes it all worthwhile? Presents that make everyone smile. It's easier than it may seem to find gifts that make their eyes gleam. They're available all around at local retailers round town. And what is it each year that makes gifting so easy? It's the Holiday Scratch Games from Wisconsin Lottery. Now prices go from 1 to 20, and types to choose from, well, there are plenty. Lots of different games to give, with instant win prizes to add to the fun. Never very far from where you live, so easy as that, your shopping is done. To give to the folks you're looking to shop for, or those you recall at the last minute, and sure to the one you simply adore. For all, the smiles are sure to hit. An easy gift is always near to make sure you're spreading holiday cheer. It's the Holiday Scratch Games from Wisconsin Lottery. Please gift responsibly.
Make News Talk 1130 WISN your #1 preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN. There used to be a day when the national news media prided itself on getting the story right. Those days are gone. Now it's slanted stories, unnamed sources, and fake news. The goal no longer is to inform you. The goal is to indoctrinate you. Here at News Talk 1130 WISN, our show hosts will give you straightforward information and honest analysis. That is our commitment, and that is our daily mission. News Talk 1130 WISN. Real life, real news, real good.
Just as shocking as the fact that a 24-year-old man from southeast Wisconsin was detained as a person of interest in connection with that horrific mass shooting at Brown University was the news late last night that investigators were letting him go.
Shortly, we will be releasing the person of interest who had been detained earlier today. And the Attorney General can speak a little bit about the rationale for that. But we want to inform the community that that individual will shortly be released from Providence Police.
Providence Police, meanwhile, say that the manhunt for the real gunman is still ongoing. It's full speed ahead. Here's Chief Oscar Perez from this morning.
Yeah, we can expect, obviously, our police presence. You can expect the police department continuing to follow leads. You can expect what the general and the mayor has stated, working with different of our federal partners, and you can expect that we're going to work extremely hard to bring that person that's responsible for these acts to justice.
Now, it seems like it might be a little harder than one might presume, as authorities about an hour or so ago released new video footage, surveillance video footage of the gunman. It's from across the street, and I think that old footage of Bigfoot is clearer than this. You can see a guy who is cloaked in shadow walking around with what appears to be some sort of long gun. And now the questions are swirling. How was there no surveillance or security camera footage from inside Brown University? How exactly did they get the person of interest so wrong? I recognize, folks, that in the early days of investigations, especially incredibly chaotic ones like mass shootings, there is a whole lot of misinformation. It's not even intentional misinformation that's flying around. The example I always give was a serious incident 13 years ago now. The Sikh temple massacre that I was one of the very first reporters on the scene, and witnesses that I was talking to were swearing up and down that they saw a second attacker. Now, of course, that wasn't true, but it was so terrifying. They saw the same guy walking back and forth. Their mind was not able to grasp. It was not able to hold on to enough detail. This is why oftentimes you will get in cases of sexual assault, you get a misidentification of the rapist. Even somebody who is that close to the victim physically, the victim, because the body, the brain just kind of shuts down, it's just very, very difficult to give a good, accurate, complete description of the suspect. Now, imagine you're taking a final exam. Some guy bursts in with a rifle and just starts shooting. You see the kid next to you get shot in the head and killed. The gunman is wearing some sort of mask, and you immediately hit the ground and try to get out of a window or into a supply closet to hide yourself. Are you able to provide an accurate depiction of what that gunman looked like? Now, this is what goes on in the first chaotic moments after a shooting like this. There's just, it's sort of like the fog of war. Again, it's not intentional. It's not as though the Providence Police Department was trying to help the suspect escape. The FBI was trying to help the suspect escape. It's just that it is very, very, very difficult to be able to get an accurate. Just look at what happened in the Charlie Kirk shooting. There was that psychopath child porn fiend, George Zinn, who immediately jumped up and said, "I shot him. I was the one who shot him," in a deliberate effort to help the real gunman escape. Well, the gunman wasn't found until later. Same thing with the assassination of the United Healthcare CEO almost a year ago in New York City. The gunman was not caught until days later because it was just very, very tough to piece different pieces of surveillance footage together in order to get a match on the getaway vehicle. I have no doubt that the suspect is going to be taken into custody, and he's probably going to be taken into custody quicker than you might think, but it is just rather remarkable that we did not in 2025 get a clearer picture of this guy. And yes, in a weekend full of Islamist terror attacks and a foiled terror plot in southern Germany, it does appear as though this could potentially be another anti-Semitic attack, as this targeted a classroom in which a Jewish studies professor was proctoring a final exam. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We will get into some of the details of that horrific, violent weekend when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
The Dan O'Donnell Show.
We'll be right back.
I'm Mark Belling, and my podcast is here, and I'm tackling the world. You can find me on the iHeart app or wherever you get your podcasts. Type Mark Belling Podcast in the search and hang on for the ride.
The Mark Belling Podcast is presented by Uline Shipping and Industrial Supplies. Ship same day for fast delivery. Visit uline.com. Also supported by Charisma Customs. You can get the Mark Belling Podcast right now at iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Ryan Sigler at Southeast Wisconsin's #1 traveling therapeutic, Smart Tech, wishing you a Merry Christmas and profitable New Year.
You mean they should stop wasting time working around their broken iPhone screen and have Smart Tech fix it in 20 minutes at their home or business?
Absolutely, and hire iNet. Do what they tell you to do. iNet is a gift of profitability that keeps on giving.
When you started at iNet, your sales quadrupled?
Yep. And when I stopped doing SEO, sales tanked. When iNet started marketing my site again, sales went back up. iNet knows marketing.
Having a broken iPhone screen replaced by SmartTech is just like having marketing that isn't working replaced by iNet. Life's just better forever. SmartTech reunites optic nerves and information.
Exactly what I meant, wishing Wisconsin businesses their most profitable New Year. iNet is improving the economy one business at a time.
Merry Christmas and wishes for your most profitable future from
smarttech.com.
And InetDishWhip.com. CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
What can Everlast Structures do for us?
The neighbors had Everlast build a hobby building for them. John said they designed the building so that their camper and boat will fit inside, and enough room inside that his wife has an office space incorporated into the design. They went with a climate control package and have heated concrete floors. There's even a bathroom in their building.
With all that extra space, we can finally get organized.
Now, I'll give Everlast Structures a call right now.
Need more storage, a place for your hobbies, or a year-round climate-controlled utility building? We are Wisconsin's top post frame builder with over 15 years of experience in the post frame and residential construction industry. Our expertise lies in designing, supplying, and building your project seamlessly. We listen to our customers, understanding their goals and requirements while thinking about the future. Our post frame structures are not only built for your current needs, but engineered for tomorrow's evolving demands. Everlast Structures are designed to enhance, built to endure. Call today to start your dream build with Everlast Structures.
Celebrate the season and your financial future. Join Annex Wealth Management for our Investing with Confidence workshop, designed especially for women. December 18th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Annex Wealth Management headquarters in Brookfield. Come enjoy holiday cheer, refreshments, and a fun, supportive atmosphere while you learn practical strategies to invest with confidence. This is your chance to take control of your financial future. Sign up today at annexwealth.com.
Do you own a small business? A seismic shift is coming. It's time to get super sure.
Dan O'Donnell here. The superheroes at Current Electric have been serving our community for over 40 years and would like to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a safe and happy New Year. For any of your electrical needs, from a Current Home standby generator to changing out a simple light switch, Current Electric would love a chance to earn your business. Go to callcurrent.com. That's callcurrent.com to learn more, and from their superheroes to yours, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
My friend just bought his 10th pumpkin spice candle. He's trying to cover up the smells coming from his air ducts.
Classic. The CDS, Candle Defense System. Trying to outsmell 50 years of dust and dead skin cells.
I know. I told him it's like a haunted attic threw up in a spice cabinet.
Forget the candles. Tell him it's time for a proper cleaning. Right now, Capital is offering $200 off professional duct cleaning. We'll clear out the dirt, dust, and whatever else.
Stop living the air freshener lie and call Capital today.
Call CapitalCares.com.
The holidays are always a wonderful time to get engaged.
And this is the perfect year to do it.
Really? Why is that?
We have a special collection of double dog dazzling engagement rings for just $3,998.
Tell her what makes them double dog dazzling, Monica.
These bridal sets are covered in diamonds and have a 3-carat created diamond center stone.
Wow.
Or you can choose a 3/4 carat natural diamond for just $1,798. And Kessler's will contribute a free 14-carat gold mounting and mount your diamond in it for you.
Wow.
Or you can get 5 matching diamonds side by side that spread all across the top of your finger.
2 carats total weight.
5 big created diamonds in a ring that will rock the house. Tell her how much, Rick.
$1,998.
Wow.
You guessed it, Sarah. We call it the Wow Collection.
18 months financing at 0% is available.
For the location of the Kesslers nearest you and our holiday hours, visit Kesslers.com.
Keep the holiday soundtrack on everywhere.
Frosty the Snowman.
Open the free iHeartRadio app and listen to B97.3, Milwaukee's home for the holidays. On the go, tap the holiday banner or just search holiday. And you'll see customized stations like iHeart Christmas Classics, iHeart Country Christmas, and tons of playlists to set the mood. You've got enough to do. Let us handle the music. Open the free iHeartRadio app now and start listening.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Committed to covering the important stories and issues that the rest of the media won't touch. This is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130, WISN. We report, you decide. Factual, fair, and balanced coverage. Your exclusive home of Fox News Radio. This is News Talk 1130, WISN.
University, a mass casualty terror event on Bondi Beach in Australia. Terror attack on 2 American soldiers in Syria, a foiled Islamist plot to attack a Christmas market in Germany. And what is it that Democrats in the media want to focus on? President Trump's Truth Social post about Rob Reiner and his wife getting murdered by their son because we have an unserious media. We will get into that. President Trump, about 2 hours ago, did provide an explanation, I guess. He did not apologize for an admittedly bad post. I thought that was in incredibly poor taste. It irks me to no end when President Trump does this because, let's face it, Rob Reiner was, politically speaking, an idiot. And he was a very outspoken idiot. But he was just brutally murdered. And my goodness, the man is responsible for some of the greatest films of all time. The Princess Bride is considered a Gen X classic. When Harry Met Sally essentially rewrote the romantic comedy genre. A Few Good Men. What else did he direct? My goodness, there was Stand By Me. My goodness, one of my favorite movies growing up, Stand By Me. The man was a brilliant artist. He was a very, very good comedic actor who really found his voice as one of the most celebrated directors of his era, and he was killed in an unspeakable tragedy. I mean, to be murdered by your own son in as vicious and brutal way as he was, right alongside his wife, the young man's mother. I mean, it was horrible. And for President Trump to blame that on Trump derangement syndrome, it was uncouth, it was untoward, it was unbecoming the president. It also paled in comparison to every left-winger on earth gleefully celebrating the brutal murder of Charlie Kirk literally 3 months ago. So pardon me if I don't think you getting your panties in a twist over President Trump posting something boorish and insensitive on Truth Social. I just don't see you as genuine. Were you one of the ones who was laughing at all the people who went as Charlie Kirk with blood coming out of his neck for Halloween? Were you one of the ones posting in great detail about how you were glad Charlie was dead? It's like the selective outrage of these people is just as crass and shameless as you would expect. And it's all predicated, folks, on them presuming you're too dumb to remember their behavior literally 3 weeks ago. But it was a violent weekend. President Trump yesterday at the White House staff Christmas party paused to reflect on the day's violence.
Before we begin, however, I want to just pay my respects to the people. Unfortunately, 2 are no longer with us. Brown University, 9 injured, and 2 are looking down on us right now from heaven. And likewise in Australia, as you know, that was a terrible attack. 11 dead, 29 badly wounded. And that was an anti-Semitic attack, obviously. And I just want to pay my respects to everybody. I must say in Syria also, we had an attack in Syria, and we had 3 great patriots terminated by bad people, and not the Syrian government. It was ISIS. Syrian government fought by our side. The new president fought by our side. But I just want to pay my respects to the families. We also had 3 injured, but 2 of them are already out of the hospital, and one's going to be okay. But we lost 3, so it was a rough day.
That certainly is an understatement. By the way, the U.S. Army has now identified the 2 deceased National Guard soldiers as Sergeant Edgar Brian Torres Tovar, who is 25 years old, and Sergeant William Nathaniel Howard, who was 29. An interpreter was also killed, although that person has not yet been identified. Also, the death toll has risen in that Bondi Beach terror attack. 15 people are now dead. 40 at least have been hurt in it, and we do now know exactly what the motive was. The two gunmen, Sajid Akram, 50 years old, and his son Naveed, who was 24, recently traveled to the Philippines, where there apparently is an Islamist hotbed, and it's unclear whether they had self-radicalized or whether they were influenced during their trip overseas. Police did find 2 Islamic State flags inside their car, that according to the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. Sajid was killed, but Naveed is in custody thanks to the heroics of a bystander who tackled one of the 2 gunmen. And lest you think that this is a universal Islamic belief, there was a Muslim guy who probably saved a whole bunch of lives by risking his own life to attack one of the gunmen and turning the gun on him. The problem, though, is that radical Islam, Islamism, the concept of jihad, the idea of a perpetual holy war to either convert or kill or subjugate the non-believers or non-converts to Islam, this is a very widespread belief, and it has only been exacerbated and magnified by what they see as a great victory over Israel, the October 7th terror attack. Remember, people even in Sydney, Australia, where the Bondi Beach attack took place, were the day after, within a couple of days after October 7th, well before Israel even began to contemplate a response to the October 7th massacre, they were already rallying against Israel. Now, does that sound like it was just a protest against Israel's genocide? No, these were celebrations of what the Palestinian terrorists were able to do, all the innocent people they were able to slaughter. And I dare say that we never stopped fighting, well, we stopped fighting an enemy that never stopped fighting back. And when I say we, I mean everybody, Muslim and non-Muslim alike, who does not believe in the concept of Islamist dominance or perpetual jihad. And we almost had another deadly Christmas market attack in Europe. 5 men arrested over the weekend, 3 Moroccans, an Egyptian, a Syrian, and a partridge in a pear tree detained over the weekend. They wanted to target a Christmas market in southern Bavaria, the region of Germany. Prosecutors said the Egyptian, a 56-year-old, was alleged to have called for a vehicle attack with the aim of killing or injuring as many people as possible. The Moroccans allegedly agreed to carry it out. Officials in Germany have been on high alert after previous attacks at Christmas markets, including in Magdeburg. Last December, 6 people were killed there. In fact, a number of communities canceled their Christmas markets out of fear over Islamist attacks. Folks, it is undeniable that Islamic terror is once again on the rise, and you can point back to October 7th, 2023 as the focal point for it. And when you have dopey American leftists going along with the calls to, quote, globalize the Intifada, this is what they mean. Consider the Intifada globalized. Intifada simply means uprising. And what it means in this context is an uprising not against Israel, but against the West. It's an uprising against non-Muslims. And unless we again recognize that the war on terror didn't just stop when we declared ISIS the JV squad and pulled out of Afghanistan, my goodness, it was just before Thanksgiving a couple of weeks ago that you had a National Guard soldier killed just blocks from the White House and another badly injured by an Afghan who was a radical Muslim. This is a very serious problem that does not appear to be getting better anytime soon. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show. If we have time, Unhinged Liberal coming up before the news.
From the place you want to go, Lynch McGuanago Traffic Center.
Southbound 4145 slow from Appleton to Capitol, northbound from Mayfair to Capitol, westbound 94 lousy 27 to Hawley, eastbound 76 to Mitchell Boulevard. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com, and we sell custom blinds, shades, and shutters at low prices. Our blinds are handcrafted to fit your windows, and if they don't, for any reason, we'll remake them for free. Your satisfaction is always guaranteed at Blindster.com.
I'm Dave Brownsdorf, president of Flawless Flooring. Realtor.com says depending on location and a few other factors, new hardwood floors add as much as 2.5% to home sale value, even if you plan to sell. Enjoy home more now while increasing your sale price with Flawless's LVP, hardwood, or amazing realistic, super wear-resistant modern laminate plank. Steamy wet dog and litter box aromas bother homeowners and buyers. But you say, Dave, we want the sound deadening and warmth underfoot of carpet? Our Delafield and New Berlin showrooms have countless style and combination flooring choices, including quality luxury carpet lines. Steamy stains and carpet stink, including pet fluids, wipe off Flawless Floorings, luxury vinyl plank, and modern laminate plank, zero steam effortlessly. Our employee-only craftsmen meticulously refinish existing hardwood, even perfectly blending additional hardwood with existing. With Flawless's nothing down, zero interest financing, upgrade today and pay over 21 months. Sensory underload, Flawless Flooring. FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
Make iHeartRadio your #1 holiday app. Hundreds of non-stop Christmas stations like iHeart Christmas and festive playlists are waiting. Open the app, search Holiday, and press play.
Holidays amplify depression and anxiety that afflict good people. Intravenous ketamine therapy empowers patients to reset and restore their relationships, especially their most important relationship, the one with themselves. R&R for Relief, Reset Restore MD, Brookfield and Mequon, rnrmd.com.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson, the Falls and New Berlin. Feel like you can't lose the weight making you feel lethargic, slow, tired, and old? Hospitalized Medicine's motivated by profit solution is drugs. Everyone, including prescribers, know have very dangerous, life-altering side effects. After 34 years practicing natural medicine, Total Health can tell you it isn't your willpower. It's fat loss resistance, often slowly built up over decades, and you can overcome it naturally. Total Health's Rapid Reset will reset your body's access to fat. Years of stress, yo-yo dieting, surgery, even menopause inflame the hypothalamus and pituitary, your body's master hormone regulators. Rather than burning stored fat, your body utilizes essential reserves. Total Health's Rapid Reset, a science-based protocol, reduces hypothalamic inflammation, rebalances insulin and leptin, restoring your body's natural system of storing energy for future use, then actually burning fat for energy. A 20-pound reduction in trapped fat in the first month is a common result. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution. TotalHealthInc.com.
Accident Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
Don't settle for a flimsy bank pre-approval. Get the pre-approval listing agents and sellers recognized as better than the rest. The rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet. Get yours by clicking on the blue button at accunet.com.
Bob from Redefined Realty here. I'd written my own ads for 20 years.
Creative genius. Here. Same. Well, INET's ads and 100 other businesses' ads.
Writing your own ads, you kind of get stuck repeating the same message. Different words, but the same perspective.
Before introducing Easy Home Bidder, Bob came to INET to brand his brainchild, MLS Listing Backed by Auction. It's brilliant. MLS guarantees the home is found. Auction guarantees the highest sale price. Period.
INET branded it, wrote our story, knocked our marketing out of the park. When you think of selling your home, you know MLS and auction together is the right choice.
Redefined also benefits from unparalleled radio buying power, industry influence, and extracurricular enhancement of being part of the INET community. More than 1,000 businesses working together for each other's successes.
Websites, branding, design, video, and radio. INET is improving the economy one business at a time.
INETdishweb.com.
CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Buyers, sellers, real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex.com. Critical events drive critical times, and these are the times to learn critical lessons. Recent events should teach us that the struggle for liberty is ongoing, and forces that are misguided or sinister stand at the ready to take our liberties away. At News Talk 1130 WISN, we are dedicated to identifying the risks to our freedoms as they arise, and to alert you to those risks, valuing our liberties and our rights. This is News Talk 1130 WISN. No radio handy? No problem. Listen to WISN's live audio stream 24/7 via the web. Just click on the Listen Online tab at newstalk1130.com.
Show. Conservative thought, not just talking, some fun as well. Like right now when we name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
That make me crazy.
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
America is over.
This one's a no-brainer, ladies and gentlemen. Today's unhinged liberals of the day are every single liberal now freaking out and feigning outrage over President Trump's untoward Truth Social post about the death of Rob Reiner, who is found murdered along with his wife. His son has now been arrested in connection with that, who is also gleefully celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We'll discuss that coming up after the top of the hour news here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth Management Studios. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN. Milwaukee, an iHeartRadio station. Guaranteed human.
With news on WISN, I'm Raymond Newpert. Opening statements today in the trial against Judge Hannah Dugan in Milwaukee. Prosecutors say she willfully led an undocumented immigrant away from ICE agents. Defense says she was handling new instructions at the courthouse. Guardian reports that FBI Director Kash Patel taking some criticism following the release of a Wisconsinite in connection with the shooting at Brown University. An Washington County deputy has been cleared in an exchange of gunfire that led to the death of a man in an October standoff. On Wall Street, stocks open the week lower. The Dow down 41, the NASDAQ down 137. Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports scoreboard, Micah Parsons out for the season following the Packers' loss to the Broncos. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Raymond Newpert on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
A chilly start to our day, but partly sunny and likely up around 22 for our high today. Southwest wind 10 to 20 miles per hour, gusty at times, but calming later in the day. Partly cloudy and 12 tonight, up to 38 tomorrow. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Looking for affordable blinds, shades, or shutters for your home? Don't hire an expensive pro. Check out Blindster.com, where we offer custom-made window coverings at guaranteed low prices with a team of pros ready to help you every step of the way. Blindster.com.
This is the time of the year most of us are checking off our holiday gift list. Identity thieves have lists too, and your personal information might be on that list. Protect your identity with LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every single second and alerts you to the threats you could miss yourself. If your identity is stolen, your own U.S.-based restoration specialist is going to work to fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Make this season about joy, not identity theft, with LifeLock. Save up to 40% off your first year at LifeLock.com with the promo code BECK. Terms apply.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
Your next event starts at the River Club of Mequon. A contemporary 400-person grand ballroom with outdoor space overlooks the golf course. This unforgettable venue is perfect for your wedding day or company event. For a tour, visit riverclubofmequon.com.
Dan Voss from Cut and Go here. At the end of this commercial, I'm finally going to release our
phone number. Unbelievably, demand has helped Cut and Go amass a fleet of 5 cranes to handle raw tonnage of volume. We just added 2 more of our amazing remote-controlled truck-mounted articulated crane grapple saw tree removal trucks to our fleet. Seasonal pricing, frozen ground, less materials to haul, and disease and insects that don't spread during winter dormancy. Call Cut and Go 262-443-4995 or pick your preferred service at cutngotrees.com. Cut and Go safely in very organized fashion brings down trees for you to clean up at your leisure, or with Chip and Go service, we chip the limbs as they come down, or our premium full cut cleanup and removal, virtually levitating the tree off your property as it comes down. Call 262-443-4995. A Tons of Trees movement. cutngotrees.com. That's cutngotrees.com.
I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute. A man suspected of being the pillowcase rapist in a string of South Florida rapes back in the 80s was convicted Monday in another one of the attacks. Robert Kohler, now 66, was found guilty on the 4 charges he faced, including sexual battery, kidnapping, and burglary. Back in 1984, a woman said someone broke into her Miami-Dade County home and raped her. The case went unsolved for more than 35 years until 2020 DNA match linked Kohler to the crime. State attorneys say Kohler's DNA has been linked to at least 25 sexual assaults in Miami-Dade alone that happened between 1981 and 1986. Authorities say the pillowcase rapist terrified his victims by breaking into their homes at night using a pillowcase or another fabric to cover his face or the faces of his victims before assaulting them, tying them up, and stealing from their homes. Kohler is already serving 17 years, sentenced in 2023 in another rape case from the 80s. His sentencing in this case is scheduled for November 24th. I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute.
In 21st century America, it's hard to know who or what to believe. The bureaucracy embraces its own agenda. The news media vilifies traditional American values. Social media is a sewer of disinformation. News Talk 1130 WISN is the counterpoint to all of it. We believe in intellectual honesty, and we believe that good and decent people are more than capable of processing that honesty and be better off for it. Believe us, because we believe in you. News Talk 1130 WISN listeners are wise, enlightened, engaged, and have impeccably good taste. Thank you for making us Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130 WISN.
The President and I want to wish every American a very Merry Christmas.
During the sacred season, Christians celebrate the greatest miracle in human history. More than 2,000 years ago, God sent His only begotten Son to be with us.
The bells, the bows, and the flashing lights, the mistletoes and the silent nights. It's all for show and it's all right. That's not why I love this time of year. It gets me and it never lets me act like I don't care. This time of year's my favorite time of year, 'cause all of us are here together.
In this holy season, we thank God for His infinite love, and we pray that the light of His glory will forever shine on this magnificent land. On behalf of Melania and the entire Trump family, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Coming up an hour from now, Milwaukee Archbishop Jeffrey Grubb will wish all of us a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. It's an annual tradition here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. We talk with the Archbishop for many, many years, who is Jerome Listecki. Now, Archbishop Grubb celebrating his very first Christmas as head of the Milwaukee Catholic Church. What does he say about what's been going on this weekend as he reflects on the past year in charge of the diocese? We will discuss coming up in 1 hour. And also, we will, unfortunately, do a post-mortem on what many believe to be the Green Bay Packers season. I'm not nearly that pessimistic, but the loss of Micah Parsons is a devastating one, and it appears as though the Packers will be without star wide receiver Christian Watson yet again. As talented as he is just unable to stay on the field, and that is a big, big problem. coming up later this hour. We will get into the very latest on what the media considers to be the biggest tragedy this week, President Trump being mean about Rob Reiner. Right now, though, let's go to Providence, Rhode Island, where authorities are giving an update on the mass shooting at Brown University.
Specific enhanced coverage in Fox Point, Wayland Square, on Thayer Street, and on Hope Street, which are the commercial districts in the area. And I want to express the city's profound gratitude to the following departments who provided mutual assistance and additional coverage today. First and foremost, the Rhode Island State Police have been excellent partners, and I'm grateful for the governor of making sure that those resources are available to us here in Providence. But we were also assisted today by friends from neighboring communities here in Rhode Island, which is a terrific way in which our colleagues from throughout Rhode Island have been assisting. Today we had extra help from North Kingstown, North Providence, East Providence, Central Falls, and Pawtucket. Many other communities have offered to help, and we expect to take that help in the days to come. But through that mutual assistance of our neighboring communities, we were able to provide that additional coverage. Secondly, we were able to provide coverage to our schools today. We did have school here in Providence. I'm glad we had school today in Providence. We'll have school tomorrow in Providence. This is the last week of the semester, and it's important for kids to be in school, and so we're encouraging parents to do what's right for their family. We understand that there are probably difficult conversations happening at the kitchen table right now, but if you're comfortable, you should send your kid to school. The Providence Public Schools are open, and we have police coverage at drop-off and pickup times to provide that extra sense of safety and security for our families. I spent the morning out at our schools too, in the neighborhood to be there for our parents, and they certainly were glad to see an officer helping out. And so, as we've said many times, but it's important to continue to say we're so grateful for the tireless effort of law enforcement, not just to assist with the investigation, but to help all of us feel safe in our home. At this time, I'm going to turn the mic over to our Governor Dan McKee.
Thanks, Mayor. And just like all of us, we want to see the individual that pulled the trigger on these young kids identified, apprehended, and brought to justice. I can tell you from the state level, we're continuing to coordinate our state police and instructed the colonel to make sure that all the resources that are available are being employed through the direction of the mayor, but that partnership is incredibly important.
All right, that is the governor of Rhode Island, Daniel McKee. Before that, the mayor of Providence, Rhode Island. It doesn't appear that there are any big breakthroughs in the investigation. Obviously, no suspect taken into custody. We will continue to monitor this press conference and bring you any highlights if there is any news that's broken in the next couple of minutes. Right now, though, it's time to get you caught up on what was going on in Donald Trump's Washington today. It's the Daily Trump Day.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
Trump just keeps winning.
It is a win for the administration.
It's also a big win for the United States.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
Second day of high-level negotiations in Berlin as U.S. negotiators attempt to bring an end to the Ukraine-Russia war. During an event this afternoon, President Trump expressed optimism.
Before we begin, however, I want to just pay my respects to the people, unfortunately,
That appears to be the wrong soundbite. I do apologize for that. President Trump, here we go, is talking about the Ukraine deal potentially being struck.
We're trying to get it solved. That was Biden's situation. We're trying to get it done. And I think we're closer now, and they will tell you that they're closer now. We had numerous conversations with President Putin of Russia, and I think we're closer now than we have been ever. and we'll see what we can do. We want to save a lot of lives. We sell equipment to NATO. We don't spend any money, but we do want to see if we can save a lot of lives.
U.S. officials are now backing so-called Article 5-like guarantees for Ukraine's security. That offers the strongest and most explicit security pledge that President Trump's administration has put forward. But America is essentially offering a take-it-or-leave-it approach because the next iteration of a deal, say sources to Politico, will not be as generous. The president honoring a number of members of the federal military, the U.S. military, for their help in securing America's border today.
Today, we're here to honor our military men and women for their central role in the protection of our border, something that I campaigned very, very strongly on, and they made me look really good. They're unbelievable. They made us all look good. I mean, we went from having millions of people pouring over our border to having none in the last 8 months, none. In a few moments, we'll officially recognize their service by awarding them the Mexican Border Defense Medal, which is a big deal.
Meanwhile, today, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has signed an agreement with Paraguay to help combat drug exports across South America.
What we signed today is a status of forces agreement that allows us to formalize a partnership that already exists and that we want to build upon, that allows us to train together, that allows us to advance the transfer of equipment that they need for their own security, that allow us to share intelligence in real time, that allow us to operate together when necessary, and in the case of any contingencies. By the way, this includes having an opportunity to very quickly partner on humanitarian responses, be it to natural disasters or anything else.
Destroying drug cartels has emerged as a key focus of the Trump administration's foreign policy. Of course, the national media does not seem to want to talk about any of that, but rather President Trump's Truth Social post after the murder of Rob Reiner, the actor, director, and prominent Democrat donor and left-winger, alongside his wife, Michelle. President Trump, in a post on Truth Social this morning, said it was, quote, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. Trump said Reiner had a, quote, raging obsession with him. As Trump put it, his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, and with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before, may Rob and Michelle rest in peace. At the event at the White House this afternoon, of course, a reporter asked Trump about that Truth Social post.
Mr. President, a number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. You know, it was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. So he became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country, yeah.
We will discuss that, of course, in greater depth coming up later on this hour here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. That, ladies and gentlemen, your daily Trump date. It is about 4:15 on a Monday afternoon. Time to help you know the difference between financial advisors and make sense of what is going on in a suddenly surging stock market, as well as your personal finances. Sitting in for Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex, this afternoon, we have Dr. Brian Jacobson, who is Annex's chief economist. Brian, Merry Christmas. Welcome to the show.
Yes, Merry Christmas to you as well.
So as we head into the final couple of weeks of 2025, we probably are looking forward to what's known as the Santa Claus rally. Everybody knows last couple of weeks, investors are feeling good. Half of the world, including yours truly, takes off between Christmas and New Year's. But the big issue that appears to be moving markets still is inflation, is affordability. In fact, yesterday, during the White House Christmas party, President Trump talked about that, and I want to get your reaction to what he said.
Our country is doing really well. We inherited a mess from Biden and the Biden administration. We had the worst inflation in the history of our country. The worst inflation in the history of our country. Prices were the highest they ever were. And what we're doing is bringing them down. We now have inflation is totally neutralized. We may get it a little bit lower. You don't want to get it you don't want deflation. Deflation is in many ways worse than inflation. But we have a record-setting. We have more people on Friday. We had more people working on Friday than at any time in the history of our country. Think of that. Wages have gone up by more than inflation. First time that's happened in many years. We are doing great, and prices are coming down. And the Democrats use this word called affordability. They look at the camera and they say, what are you going to do for the affordability? They keep saying affordability. Well, they're the ones that cause the problem, okay? They're the ones that cause the problem.
Can't say I disagree with any of that. He brings up an interesting point, Brian. You see all this economic data, and it's undeniably good. First quarter GDP next year is probably going to be just a phenomenal number. But at the same time, many people don't feel good about their own personal finances because of how much more expensive everything has gotten over the past 5 years.
Oh, yeah. Prices have risen. And I think there's an important distinction between inflation, prices, and then affordability as well, right? So in terms of inflation, that is the percentage change in prices. If you have prices going down, that is deflation. And there are some areas where, thankfully, with some commodity prices, I mean, remember eggs, that was kind of the poster child for inflation with the prices going up, and now they're actually going down. And when we look at the rate of change of prices, they are still going up for most consumers. It obviously depends upon what you consume. Most of what you do consume, it's services. And that's the part where prices are still rising, but at a slower pace. So it does look like we're on track to get inflation closer to the Fed's target as we go into 2026.
Do you think that we will continue to have this apprehension? I mean, you've still got the impact of tariffs out there, although the tariff impact on prices is far less than I think even the most pessimistic economists had thought. Is inflation really still an issue, or do we need, again, more aggressive rate cuts, as President Trump has been calling for pretty much since his second term started?
You know, when we look at the makeup of the Fed, and they are trying to make decisions based upon the data that they have, so the vacuum of data from the government shutdown, they're still working through that. There's still plenty of private sector data sources that we can look at that suggest that the inflation problem isn't as big of a problem as what they originally feared. And it's almost reminiscent of during the COVID era, where they kept rates too low for too long because they were convinced that COVID was coming back. And now it's almost as though they've been too hesitant for too long to cut rates because they think that inflation is just around the corner, because no, it hasn't happened as much yet, but you just wait. And, you know, I think that it's one of those things where it's almost an article of faith for some people that tariff pass-through to inflation has to be 100%. But in fact, it actually gets spread across between consumers, the people importing, the people exporting. And that's where, when we were looking at the tariff shock, it wasn't quite as a dire outlook as what a lot of people originally feared.
He is Brian Jacobson, chief economist at Annex Wealth Management, annexwealth.com, where you can go to work with someone who's working with and for you as a fee-only fiduciary to get you ready for the end of the year, taxes and so forth, estate planning, financial management, managing your future and that of your family. Ultimately, that's what it's all about, annexwealth.com. Brian, hope you and your family have a very Merry Christmas. We will talk again soon, my friend.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Coming up, a big story about arrests in a multi-state burglary ring, including in Wisconsin. But why is no one talking about it?
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Got delays as you travel southbound on 43, starting at North Avenue, continuing down to the Marquette. Northbound delays start just before Fond du Lac, clear up north of Burleigh. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com, and we sell custom blinds, shades, and shutters at low prices. Our blinds are handcrafted to fit your windows, and if they don't, for any reason, we'll remake them for free. Your satisfaction is always guaranteed at Blindster.com.
Snow's on the ground. Lights are all bright. The holidays are filled with delight. But what makes it all worthwhile? Presents that make everyone smile. It's easier than it may seem to find gifts that make their eyes gleam. They're available all around at local retailers round town. And what is it each year that makes gifting so easy? It's the Holiday Scratch Games from Wisconsin Lottery. Now prices go from 1 to 20. And types to choose from, well, there are plenty. Lots for game to give, with instant win prizes to add to the fun. Never very far from where you live, so easy as that, your shopping is done. To give to the folks you're looking to shop for, or those you recall at the last minute, and sure to the one you simply adore. For all, the smiles are sure to hit. An easy gift is always near to make sure you're spreading holiday cheer. It's the Holiday Scratch Games from Wisconsin Lottery. Please gift responsibly.
The real estate industry insiders know who to call when it's time to sell their home. This is Chris Leby with Lake Country Flat Fee. We've built up a solid track record of helping out our fellow real estate colleagues over the years. Former realtors, mortgage professionals, real estate attorneys. Being in the business, they know our reputation and they're confident we'll deliver them results and savings. Our sellers save about 50% versus a traditional 6% broker. To learn more or to schedule a free market analysis, visit our website at lakecountryflatfee.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you across the greater Milwaukee area. Start your repair right now at mandercollision.com. Mander truly is the best decision after a collision.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. Make News Talk 1130 WISN your #1 preset on our free iHeartRadio app. Powered by Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Injured?
Remember, one call, that's all.
Show summaries, podcasts, political tidbits, and the hottest photo galleries in radio. All available to you whenever you demand them at newstalk1130.com.
You remember about a month or so ago, the interstate burglary ring that struck Mequon and how freaked out people were about it because we just couldn't believe that people were being the victims of home invasion burglaries in a community as nice as Mequon. What if I were to tell you that 3 people who are connected to that burglary ring that is believed to have hit Mequon were arrested? And nobody seemed to notice except Karen Pilarski, writing for GMtoday.com, the website of the Waukesha Freeman. Within the first 2 clauses of her, not Santa Clauses, sentence clauses, within the first 2 clauses of her opening sentence, you will see exactly why nobody seems to be picking up on this story. 3 men from Chile who were in the United States illegally are accused of making repeated trips from Florida to Wisconsin, targeting homes at the ends of cul-de-sacs and near wooded areas and burglarizing them. Engerbet A. Rojas Silva, age 20, Luciano A. Silva Cifuentes, 27, and Leandro F. Pino Uribe, 21, were each charged in Waukesha County Circuit Court Friday with counts of burglary to a building, possession of burglary tools. Two of the men are held on $250,000 cash bond. All three expected to appear in court on Wednesday. Each faces up to 15 years in prison. According to the criminal complaint, woman returned to her home in the town of Delafield on October 17th, found the rear glass patio door smashed, items scattered throughout. Police say the suspects appeared to focus on upstairs bedrooms. Jewelry cases were opened, drawers rifled through, clothing tossed around. The suspects took a pillowcase from a pillow in the home, used it to carry the stolen items, including roughly 100 pieces of jewelry. Another burglary had occurred September 5th in the same neighborhood in the town of Delafield, also at a wooded cul-de-sac. Entry again made through a broken glass patio door, pillowcase taken, jewelry stolen from the master bedroom, some pieces later found along a wooded path behind the home. 3 burglaries in Mequon followed the same pattern, homes bordering wooded areas and entry made through shattered patio doors. A detective prepared a tower dump and search warrant to identify phone numbers or devices used near the burglary sites. 4 international mobile subscriber identifiers were detected. Each appeared in Delafield and Mequon during the respective burglary timeframes. Detectives learned the devices routinely traveled across the country and were believed to originate from Florida. Now, where do you think, if you're on an interstate crime ring and you're burglarizing houses across the country, November 1st, where do you need to stop to, sort of relax, cool your heels a little bit? A cannabis dispensary in Carbondale, Illinois. Surveillance video there showed a black Mercedes SUV registered to a Miami resident arriving. Driver entered the store, presented an unknown country passport, identifying him as Leonardo Quispe. He allegedly provided a phone number linked to one of the 4 IMS eyes. Vehicle and devices all returned to Florida by November 4th. They appeared ready to leave the state again. Mercedes stopped by the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office in Florida. Driver arrested for reckless driving, booked under the name Jose Luis Centeno Colonia of Peru. Now, phone data shows during the stop, several suspect devices went to a gas station for 3 hours before returning to Kissimmee, Florida. Clearly, they were tipped off that Jose Luis or Leonardo or Leandro or whatever ID he was using that day had gotten busted. Authorities later determined the name was fake. The driver was actually Engerbet Alejandro Rojas Silva from Chile. So all the while, burglaries are still going on. December 4th in Fox Point, December 5th in De Pere, December 6th in Middleton. Flock cameras identified a white Nissan Rogue with Florida plates as the vehicle linked to the suspects. Records showed the Rogue consistently traveled between Florida and Wisconsin in line with both burglary locations and the movement of the suspect devices. On December 10th, suspect devices were detected traveling together in a red Dodge Durango, leaving Florida. Flock safety cameras tracked the vehicle into Wisconsin. Sheriff's deputies in Waukesha, staged along 43, initiated a traffic stop northbound in Mukwonago. Inside were the 3 men now charged. Deputies found the suspect devices, the all of the cell phones that were with them. They also found radio antennas resembling those used in Wi-Fi signal jammers, tools criminals use to disrupt security systems, according to investigators. Officers also located window punchers similar to those used to break patio doors in the burglaries, along with multiple fraudulent IDs and passports. All three men were identified by Homeland Security investigations as being in the country illegally. All were booked into jail on immigration holds. Thank heavens. Great reporting there by Karen Pilarski over at the Waukesha Freeman. Nobody else has picked up on this story, that it's very likely that the suspects in the Mequon burglaries, which for one brief, glorious moment raised awareness of the fact that you do have illegal immigrant gangs committing highly sophisticated crimes and that Americans are the victims of them. Even Americans in supposedly affluent areas where crime never happens. That's what they kept saying, is you would never expect this would happen in Mequon. Well, yeah, you would, because the previous administration flooded this country with people who were never vetted. They were let in by the millions. Oftentimes, they were given parole. They were led about, and they went on their merry way committing crimes, and we were never, ever allowed to notice that the crime rate was exploding at the exact same moment that all of these people who were unvetted and allowed into the country. Well, now people are noticing, and they're also noticing that illegal immigration has slowed to a veritable stop under the Trump administration. It is by far the administration's greatest success that the border was sealed almost instantly, proving almost instantly that it was an intentional decision to allow people into this country by the millions, regardless of whether they were ever going to benefit American society or instead, like these three Chileans, victimize American society. Thank heavens, though, we have people like Tom Homan, who spoke today at the White House event, trying to get people to stop coming across the border, because not only is it dangerous for people who we don't have a background check on, we have no idea who they are. It's not just dangerous for us as American citizens, it's also insanely dangerous for the migrants themselves to put their lives in the hands of the most dangerous people on earth, the people who control the drug cartels, who are now running human smuggling operations.
Under the last administration, over 4,000 aliens died making that journey. With a secure border, lives are being saved every day. Sex trafficking has plummeted. Fentanyl has plummeted. No unexpected terrorists coming across borders plummeted. A secure border means stronger national security. But most importantly, it means saving lives, saving aliens' lives, and saving Americans' lives.
Couldn't have put it any better myself. When we come back here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, Reinergate 2025, the murder of Rob Reiner and the media's obsession with Trump's response. Next.
Merry Christmas from all of us here at the Dan O'Donnell Show.
From the Lynch Truck Center in Waterford Total Traffic Center.
At delays as you travel southbound on 43, starting at North Avenue, continuing down to the Marquette. Northbound delays start just before Fond du Lac, clear up north of Burleigh. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle, founder of Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 to make quality, custom-made blinds affordable to everyone. Traditional window covering retailers are expensive. Our prices are low and our blinds are guaranteed to fit. Blindster.com.
For many of us, the most important part of our routine between 6 and 9 weekday mornings is to listen to every minute of the Jay Weber Show on WISN. Sadly, sometimes less important elements of our lives get in the way, such as work, children, and bathing. Don't despair. The Jay Weber Show podcast is available 24/7 to fill any gaps in your hunger for entertainment. Just go to newstalk1130.com, click the podcast tab, and enjoy Jay Weber on demand.
The only agent I trust here in Milwaukee is Justin Hoffman with RE/MAX Lakeside. Now, thanks for joining me today. So what's the biggest challenge that sellers face when they're getting a divorce?
Well, Sean, unfortunately, divorce is tough, and we deal with it a lot in our business. We have to make sure that these people feel like they're being treated fairly. They want to both feel like they're part of the deal. They don't want one side getting more insight than the other, and we have solutions for these types of issues.
How do you help them with that?
We can help them with that with a quick, clean, cash instant offer. Or we make sure we set all the precedent up front so they know we're going to be dealing with them directly, equally, all the way through the transaction.
All right. Thanks for keeping us up to date.
If I needed to sell a home in Milwaukee, I'd call Justin Hoffman.
Just go to wihomeeval.com. That's wihomeeval.com.
Or just Google Team Hoffman and check out over 700 five-star reviews.
Bob built a brand over the same 20 years INET has. I bought multiple properties over those years. Bob gets real estate like I never will.
In real estate, every brokerage does the same thing. MLS. Adding auction bidding to MLS, I knew if INET branded it, told our story, home sellers would understand and accept this real estate revolutionizing platform.
You can be the best in your industry like Redefined Realty is. Even revolutionize your industry like Redefined Realty has with auction. Yet, it's your story that sells.
You can't tell your story as well as INET Creative Genius will tell your story.
Real Estate for Winners is exactly what Redefined Realty and auction has always been.
Steven knocked our brand and marketing out of the park.
Selling a home? If you don't use Redefine's MLS and auction platform, you'll leave closing with less money than you would have. Tragic and that simple.
Websites, branding, design, video, and radio. INET is improving marketing for winners.
INETJustWeb.com.
CreativeGeniusMarketing.com.
Real Estate for Winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
I'm defense attorney Tom Grieve. Charged with an OWI, it's not just a ticket. It's on your record permanently and can affect your career or your ability to travel. One mistake shouldn't ruin your life. Contact Grieve Law for your OWI defense. GrieveLaw.com.
Henry Wadsworth Longfellow famously said, "Into each person's life, some rain must fall." At Ryan Waterproofing, we tend to agree, as long as it's not in your basement. Free estimates, because praying for drought is overrated. Ryan Waterproofing. Call Ryan.com. That's call, RION.com.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson, the Falls and New Berlin. Additives, chemicals, and toxins in your diet can miswire the way your genes express themselves. Food is critical for health. Increased energy, better sleep, reversing chronic disease. A healthier, happier, pain-free you is simple. Schedule your free Total Health consult. Holistic health coaches will guide you to a healthier, happier, truly you. Seed oils, the #1 source of calories in American diets, were developed as fuel in industrial lubricants. Seed oils cause dozens of chronic illnesses. Big Healthcare solution to nutritional-related illness is their same solution to all health-related problems. Drugs that also alter the way your genes express themselves, leaving root causes making you increasingly sick over time. What they never tell is eliminate seed oils from your diet, and cutting back on sugar will immediately improve your health. It's true. Total Health finds root causes of sickness, including nutritional deficiencies, then helps you, the whole complete you, achieve wellness. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution. TotalHealthInc.com. That's TotalHealthInc.com.
This is the time of the year most of us are checking off our holiday gift list. Identity thieves have lists too, and your personal information might be on that list. Protect your identity with LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every single second and alerts you to the threats you could miss yourself. If your identity is stolen, your own U.S.-based restoration specialist is going to work to fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Make this season about joy, not identity theft, with LifeLock. Save up to 40% off your first year at LifeLock.com with the promo code BECK. Terms apply.
Injured? Call Gruber Law.
One call, that's all.
Hey everybody, it's Chuck and Josh from the Stuff You Should Know podcast, and it's that time of year again when we knuckle down to do our annual holiday episodes.
We collected our best past classic holiday episodes and compiled them into a 12 Days of Christmas Toys playlist that the whole family can enjoy.
That's right, maybe you missed it the first time we detailed the history of Beanie Babies, Monopoly, or yo-yos, and a whole lot more.
So open your free iHeartRadio app, search Stuff You Should Know, and listen now.
It's a Saturday night smackdown. The Green Bay Packers travel to Chicago to take on the Bears. Presented by Robert Heck Diamonds. They buy gold. See them in Greenfield or Brookfield on 95.7 Big FM.
full of just shocking violence. The murders of Rob Reiner, legendary Hollywood actor and director, and his wife, Michelle, might have been the most shocking, especially when it was revealed that the couple's 32-year-old son, Nick, was arrested for it.
They worked throughout the night on this case and were able to take into custody Nick Reiner, a suspect in this case. He was subsequently booked for murder and is being held on $4 million bail.
The details are still not entirely clear, but what we know is this. Rob and Nick Reiner were fighting noticeably, were very upset with each other at a Christmas party hosted by Conan O'Brien, the former late-night talk show host. He now has a very successful podcast. And he was hosting a party in which the two were just very agitated, very angry at each other. It is believed they went home after that party and Nick attacked both Rob and Michelle, stabbing them multiple times and slashing their throats, which ultimately led to their deaths. Now, the bodies were not found until much later on by someone who stopped by the house, and the initial report went out, 2 bodies found at the home of Rob Reiner. Well, when the ages, a 78-year-old man and a 68-year-old woman, were released by the LAPD, it became apparent, because Reiner was 78 and his wife was 68 years old, that it was the two of them. Now, it was relatively well known in Hollywood circles that Reiner, the younger Reiner, Nick Reiner, was struggling with very severe substance dependency in his early life. Supposedly, he was clean for many, many years, but had dealt with severe mental illness that resulted in him living on the streets. In fact, the father and son both did a movie together, with Nick producing and Rob directing, that was loosely based on Nick Reiner's struggles. Now, to see something like this happen so close, I mean, anytime, this is just a horrific, tragic double murder, but especially this close to Christmas time, when there were so many people who obviously loved Rob and Michelle Reiner. It's just it's a horrific tragedy. Now, you might have noticed something, that even though Rob Reiner was very outspoken about his politics, and frankly, folks, I would get, over the years, people who would send me stuff that Rob Reiner had said or written or posted, because he was the epitome of just far left boomer, just cringe boomer lib. And because I didn't really connect with him, I didn't watch All in the Family growing up as much as other shows that I watched on Nick at Night. I recognized its brilliance, but because there was that connection, because he was such a popular actor and Meathead was such a popular character on that show, that there was this connection that I just never really had. And anytime there's a Hollywood actor who shoots his dumb mouth off about politics, I don't really pay too much attention, whether it's on our side or the other, because I don't think that very many of them are truly very well informed. There are a couple of notable exceptions. Of course, James Woods is remarkably knowledgeable about politics. That's his true interest. Real James Woods on X is a great follow. I mean, the man is very insightful politically, but, you know, are you really listening to Leonardo DiCaprio spout platitudes about climate change? So I just sort of tuned him out. President Trump did not, and posted on Truth Social this morning that he thought that Reiner and his wife's deaths were the result of his extreme Trump derangement syndrome, in a post that was widely rebuked, including by me. It was tasteless. Folks, there's just no way around it. It was a tasteless thing to post. It was beneath the office of the presidency. It was beneath Trump personally, frankly. And I thought he was over that sort of thing. You know, like when he posted about Mika Brzezinski's botched facelift while she was recovering at Mar-a-Lago, and he was ticked off at MSNBC's Morning Joe. I wish he wouldn't do stuff like that. But this notion that Trump posting something just kind of dumb is in any way equivalent or absolves the literal millions and millions and millions of deranged leftists openly celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk just 3 months ago. There's not even a comparison. Now, Trump was asked about that Truth Social post at an event at the White House this afternoon.
Mr. President, a number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. You know, it was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country, yeah.
So, objectively, Rob Reiner was not very bad for our country. He had bad political opinions. He made great films. Stand By Me is one of the best coming-of-age stories of all time. When Harry Met Sally, a true great in the pantheon of romantic comedies. A Few Good Men, absolute classic. The Princess Bride, once again, regarded as an all-time classic. Regardless of how you viewed the man's politics, you can at least accept that he was an objectively brilliant filmmaker. This Is Spinal... My God, I forgot. He did This Is Spinal Tap, one of the great comedies of all time. And also its sequel, which was meh. I watched about half of it, and it was just kind of sad watching the guys from Spinal Tap. I mean, they've got to be pushing 80 right now. But I noticed something today and yesterday when conservatives were posting about Reiner's death. They said, I didn't agree with his politics, but my condolences, he was a great director. You don't have to add the qualifier about his politics. You can just say, I'm very broken up about his death, or that, hey, this guy died. He made films I enjoyed. My condolences. But we have really gotten, and yes, I am going to blame the left on this one, that we have gotten so hyper-focused on politics. We have gotten so tribalized that if you ever saw a Democrat, and it was rare, post something, actually, I will give him credit. Rob Reiner posted something and said something incredibly classy about Charlie's assassination. But they would need to say, I'm sorry, I disagreed with him. I thought he was a Nazi, but I'm terribly sorry he got killed. People on the right usually don't have that qualifier. Nobody was saying, well, I disagreed with his Middle East policy, and I thought his stagflationary politics his policies were disastrous, but I'm sorry Jimmy Carter is dead at the age of 100. Nobody needs to post that. But we've gotten to the point where anybody who's sort of outspoken about politics can't even be mourned or can't even be thought of or discussed in a context outside of politics, outside of the tribalized, divided politics that we have. It's okay to just say, hey, it sucks that Rob Reiner was murdered. What an awful tragedy. Man, oh man, oh man, I can't believe that the son got as bad as he did. You don't need to say, well, I didn't agree with his politics. Yeah, obviously, you're not a crazy leftist. But in any way to equivocate or to try to compare one objectively bad Truth Social post from Trump to leftists both high profile and anonymous by not the thousands, not the hundreds of thousands, but by the literal millions. Folks, we could see all of your social media. We played all of your TikToks on this show. Spare me your faux outrage conservatives are supposedly gleefully celebrating. Give me a break. Nobody's gleefully celebrating the death of Rob Reiner. Millions of you people were gleefully celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk 3 weeks ago. Nobody's celebrating the death of Rob Reiner. Trump was saying, hey, I didn't like him. I still don't like him now. He died because of Trump derangement syndrome. It's tasteless. But we're talking about a matter of scale here, both intensity and sheer volume of hateful, unhinged tweets about Charlie Kirk. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show. It is a tour de force of truth, and it's coming right back.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Westbound 94 slam between 16th and Hawley. Eastbound from 92nd to Hawley. Westbound on 894, you're tight from the Mitchell interchange to 60th. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com, and we sell custom blinds, shades, and shutters at low prices. Our blinds are handcrafted to fit your windows, and if they don't, for any reason, we'll remake them for free. Your satisfaction is always guaranteed at Blindster.com.
Experience a wellness retreat crafted for restoration at Perspire Sauna Studio in Brookfield. Our private infrared saunas support detoxification, relaxation, pain relief, and elevated approach to whole body health. This holiday season, give the gift of warmth and wellness with gift cards now 20% off. Whether you're celebrating someone special or investing in your own well-being, this is the perfect moment to slow down, breathe deeply, and feel renewed. Visit our studio today and unwrap wellness this season. PerspireSaunaStudio.com, 262-333-2188.
Jason, what are you singing? Working new jingle to promote Capital's $49 drain clearing. When your sink fills up with gunk, don't stress, don't whine. It's only $49. Don't take this the wrong way, man, but I'd stick to plumbing, heating, and cooling if I were you. That's fair, but people need to know that we clear clogs for only $49. Fine, but I would have rhymed gunk with junk. It's so obvious.
Call CapitalCares.com. Celebrate the season and your financial future. Join Annex Wealth Management for our Investing with Confidence workshop, designed especially for women. December 18th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Annex Wealth Management headquarters in Brookfield. Come enjoy holiday cheer, refreshments, and a fun, supportive atmosphere while you learn practical strategies to invest with confidence. This is your chance to take control of your financial future. Sign up today at annexwealth.com.
Dan Voss from Cut and Go here. At the end of this commercial, I'm finally going to release our phone number. Unbelievably, demand has helped Cut and Go amass a fleet of 5 cranes to handle raw tonnage of volume. We just added 2 more of our amazing remote-controlled truck-mounted articulated crane grapple saw tree removal trucks to our fleet. Seasonal pricing, frozen ground, less materials to haul, and disease and insects that don't spread during winter dormancy. Call Cut and Go, 262-443-4995, or pick your preferred service at cutngotrees.com. Cut and Go safely in very organized fashion brings down trees for you to clean up at your leisure, or with Chip and Go service, we chip the limbs as they come down, or our premium full cut cleanup and removal, virtually levitating the tree off your property as it comes down. Call 262-443-4995. A Tons of Trees movement. CUTNGOtrees.com. That's CUTNGOtrees.com.
We are leaders in joint replacement at the Orthopedic Surgery Center in Pewaukee. With advanced technology and same-day surgery, we can provide specialized care to get you back on your feet faster. OAW's orthopedic surgeons perform a variety of outpatient procedures, such as total joint replacement, spine surgery, arthroscopic procedures, and fracture care. Our team uses the latest techniques to reduce pain and recovery time, whether it's a knee, hip, or shoulder. Total joint replacement. There is a difference. Visit OrthoWisconsin.com.
Do you own a small business? A seismic shift is coming. It's time to get Super Sure. Coming soon.
This change has leveled us up while being able to maintain the same quality of service that we've always provided, with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission. We're proud to be part of the Century 21 family, so you can move fearlessly with the added confidence of top-of-the-line marketing for maximum home exposure. And that means more eyeballs and the real potential for the highest price for your home. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty. Benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. First off, our 1.9% commission structure helps get their foot in the door, and that's why agents like working here. But what they really like is having the strongest marketing tools available, with the resources to help them sell homes at the highest prices to satisfy their clients. Century 21 Benefit Realty offers what agents like most, and that's to help them be successful. If you really want to believe in the business model that you're representing, give me a call. I'm Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty. Call me, and let's talk about your future. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Men's wedding bands made from whiskey barrels and meteorites.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Slot, O'Hara turns, shoots, scored! The Milwaukee Admirals take a 5-game losing streak into a school day game at Chicago on Wednesday. Bar dot, slot, shot, score! Pre-game coverage at 10:30 in the morning. Face off at 11 a.m. on Fox Sports 920 and the iHeartRadio app.
Charlie Kirk was assassinated 3 weeks ago. Obviously, I mean 3 months ago. Thank you to those texting in at 414-799-1130 to correct me. Yes, it was 3 months ago, September 10th, almost exactly 3 months ago, that Charlie Kirk was assassinated at Utah Valley University. Folks, I will never forget, because I pay attention to stuff like this, just how awful both random liberals on social media and prominent left-wing politicians and pundits alike were, if they weren't openly celebrating his death, and a lot of them were openly celebrating his death, they were because they were worried about the repercussions, making it very clear that they weren't all that broken up about Charlie Kirk specifically being killed. I was like, well, we object to the concept of people being murdered generally, but we're not all that upset about this particular guy being murdered, because let's face it, when you spread that much hate, it's no real surprise that you're going to meet a hateful, awful end. They did it with Rush Limbaugh, too. They did it with Antonin Scalia before him. They did it with Ronald Reagan when he passed away back in 2004, as Vince notes on our YouTube live chat. It's the fact that social media allows everybody, no matter how, shall we say, off, to have a voice. And you just get constant stream of consciousness rants from maybe people who the public discourse is not necessarily served by hearing from. And this creates a massive echo chamber in which, because the mainstream traditional media takes its cues from social media, particularly X, in what the public is feeling. And if you've got a whole lot of deranged lefties all going crazy about Charlie Kirk's assassination, well, that's what gets focused on. All right, we're going to step aside for a break. When we come back after the news, the Archbishop of Milwaukee, Jeffrey Grob, will join us here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the Annex Wealth